Bournemouth striker Evanilson scored with the last touch of the game to rescue a point at Aston Villa in the Premier League. The Cherries were given a free kick 6 minutes into stoppage time, and with everybody, including the goalkeeper forward, Marcus Tavernier, found an unmarked Evanilson at the near post, and Bournemouth's record signing flicked a header into the far corner. Villa had been the better side and went ahead in the 76th minute when Ross Barkley hooked in Leon Bailey's header back across goal. Earlier, John McGinn had a strike ruled out in the 28th minute after a long video assistant referee (VR) review. McGinn converted Ollie Watkins' cutback, but it was ruled that the ball had narrowly rolled out of play for a Bournemouth goal kick just before Watkins gathered possession. Despite Villa's dominance, Cherries substitute Evanilson had the final word, scoring for just the second time since he joined Bournemouth from Porto in August for a club record £40.2 million fees. Aston Villa manager Unai Emery told BBC Match of the Day that, of course, his side deserved to win. "It's painful, but we have to accept it," he added. Matheus Cunha will hope he's breathed new life into Wolves' season by firing home an invaluable equalizer 3 minutes into stoppage time at Brighton and Hove Albion. Like so often this season, the Old Gold gave a good account of themselves at the Amex, but trailed to Danny Welbeck's goal and thought their chances had gone when Evan Ferguson doubled the home side's lead on 85 minutes. However, Wolves' luck finally turned in those choosing stages. Ryan Ait-Nouri lashed home to reduce the deficit, and then deep into injury time, Cunha's strike took a huge deflection off Jan Paul van Hecke before hitting the underside of the crossbar on its way in. A deserved first point since August for Gary O'Neill's side. For much of the opening half, things had gone according to plan for Wolves. They'd been solid, compact, and offered Brighton few opportunities, and actually should have played much of it as the leading side. The main early chance belonged to O'Neill's squad. After Cunha impressively rolled Joel Veltman, he was in down the left and picked out Tommy Doyle, arriving around the penalty spot, but he curled over when unmarked, despite the ball falling to his favored right foot. The Seagulls couldn't match that for chance quality for much of the half, with Welbeck heading on to the roof of the net and Carlos Baliba having a long-distance effort turned around the post by Sa. Nelson Semedo had kept Karu Mitoma quiet in his defensive role and shot straight at Bart Verbruggen on one of a number of flurries forward. The one time Mitoma did get in, Santiago Bueno pushed him wide so his effort flew over the bar. It was Wolves defending during the first 45, which made the opening goal all the more frustrating. Sa's kick was poor, straight to Ferdi Kadioglu, who fed Jorginho Rutter. He in turn slid in Welbeck, who confident stroked across Sa and into the goal for the opening goal. Halftime, Brighton 1-0 Wolves. For much of the second half, Wolves took the game to Brighton, but couldn't find a way through. Cunha twice threatened, first when his cross was inches away from Jorgen Strand Larsen, and then when he stung the palms of Verbruggen. Strand Larsen, fresh from 2 goals in recent weeks, then headed a Cunha cross into the hands of Verbruggen. The halftime introduction of Pablo Sarabia made a difference too, and both Bueno and Craig Dawson had headed attempts from crosses, courtesy of the Spaniard. Wolves had been the side in control for nearly all of the half, so the familiar sinking feeling of a second Brighton goal was cruel. Fresh legs from Tariq Lamptey carried the ball into the box, and Ferguson was able to fire across goal and into the far corner. However, that wasn't that for Wolves. Sarabia's corner 2 minutes later was attacked by Dawson, and although he couldn't turn home, Ait Nouri lashed the loose ball through a crowd of bodies and into the net, and Wolves were back where they were, a goal behind. City wasted no time at all in exposing a fragile Southampton defense with a goal inside 5 minutes. Bernardo played Matheus Nunes in behind the Saints' defense, and the Portuguese crossed into the 6-yard box, where Haaland wrestled in front of his marker to fire past Aaron Ramsdale and put the Blues 1-0 up. It was Nunes' fourth assist of the season, and all 4 have been for Haaland. It was the Norwegians' 14th goal of the campaign, and ended a run of 3 Premier League games without a goal. The next 20 minutes passed largely without incident, and neither keeper was seriously tested. Savino was a box of tricks down the right flank, effortlessly gliding past Southampton defenders, and on one occasion weaving through several challenges before being tackled as he was about to shoot. All the while, just a goal behind, Southampton remained firmly in the contest. Kovacic saw a snapshot scrambled clear by Ramsdale a minute before the break, and Saints almost snatched an equalizer with the last action of the first 45 when Cameron Archer raced clear, only to see his rising shot hit the crossbar. If City had needed a reminder that this game was far from over, that was surely it. It had been a first half that failed to ignite as expected after that early Haaland strike. City came out looking energized and almost doubled the lead 25 seconds after the restart. Nice work by Savinho saw him cut inside on the halfway line before feeding Phil Foden, who saw his low shot whistle a few inches past the right-hand post. 3 minutes later, Haaland saw a header cleared off the line and then sent another headed effort straight at Ramsdale seconds later. It seemed like the Blues were upping the ante and looking for what could potentially be a killer second goal as quickly as possible. Then Savinho sent in a deliciously teasing cross to the far post, only for Haaland to prod just wide. City continued to dominate without testing Ramsdale too often. Southampton packed their penalty area with 10 players whenever the Blues were attacked, which was for the majority of the half, before launching the occasional counterattack. It resulted in a tense last few minutes, with the visitors throwing caution to the wind in search of a shock equalizer that, thankfully, never came, or ever seemed looked likely to. Saints, however, will take pride in a performance that suggested they will eventually pull away from the bottom 3 if today's standards are maintained. City came out looking energized and almost doubled the lead 25 seconds after the restart. Nice work by Savinho saw him cut inside on the halfway line before feeding Phil Foden, who saw his low shot whistle a few inches past the right-hand post. 3 minutes later, Haaland saw a header cleared off the line and then sent another headed effort straight at Ramsdale seconds later. It seemed like the Blues were upping the ante and looking for what could potentially be a killer second goal as quickly as possible. Is Ipswich Town's Premier League return doomed? For the most glorious period, it briefly promised to be everything they had hoped for. 2 goals ahead, with their fans reveling in what looked set to be a triumphant trip to the Big Smoke, the visitors could start picturing the reality of a first top-flight win since April 2002. The bubble rapidly burst when Brentford took a 3-2 lead and Harry Clarke was sent off, only for Liam Delap to grab the unlikeliest of late equalizers. With the clock almost run its course, Brian Mbeumo sent in a speculative cross deep in injury time that evaded everyone and somehow made its way into the Ipswich net. A frantic 4-3 win for the hosts, and another result that will be difficult for Ipswich fans to swallow.